Alright guys, such comic again. I hope you're doing good and enjoying your day so far. Just the other day, Simp said that if the Gentlemates streamed their practice, they would get cancelled immediately for some of the words said behind the scenes. That caused a lot of stir on social media, but we're seeing some evidence of that over the last day or so, with Doug Censor Martin getting into a frustrated, heated drama with one of his teammates last night during a scrim set that they played. Doug not especially happy with what his teammate was up to. Lots of words exchanged either which way. Plenty to get into. Very much enjoy your thoughts in the comments. Hit the like button if you enjoy, subscribe if you're new as always, I would greatly appreciate it. We're going to start here, speaking of the FaZe guys, better all-time CDL team, so you can put together some rosters. What would be the best? Now I guess we're talking about primes here, right? I guess you can look at this a couple of different ways. Could you, let's say, bring back Scump right now and plonk him into the team? Maybe. But, I mean, presumably we're talking primes here just because you're looking at Los Angeles Thieves. This is basically their current roster, but with Octane instead of aBeZy. So, and look, you can bring Octane back. I still think he could do a great job at a pro level if he actually wanted to return. But bringing him in for aBeZy with Kenny in his current form and the team struggling, you know, doesn't really make that team any better right now, especially given that Scrap's also an AR, so we'd be having Kenny on the sub. And right now, I don't know if that's the way to go. Maybe it could be something that could be tried. But anyway, I think what we're kind of going for here is primes, at least maybe CDL primes. How would these guys do? Very interesting, I think, would be to see a kind of prime OpTic or Thieves face up against prime FaZe, because obviously this was not FaZe Vegas at the time, it was Atlanta FaZe, but really we're talking Cold War FaZe. When they were at the peak of their powers, Simp and aBeZy were setting the standard to such a degree that basically everyone tried to copy what they were doing in the coming seasons with that dynamic, right? It was kind of the first time that had really been introduced, because obviously it was 5v5 for a couple of years, so the SMG roles were a little bit different anyway. It wasn't like a clear slaying SMG and aggressive SMG. And back in the day where Scump was the absolute dominant force, he was kind of the do-it-all sub, right? He didn't necessarily have a sub-duo. Even when HyDra and Kismet came along for New York in the following years and they did very well, their dynamic was kind of more similar even to maybe a Scump and Karma possibly than it was to a Simp and aBeZy. So, but, you know, for the years after, everyone was trying to find a sub-duo to match those guys. Anyway, Selling was unbelievable in that game. RSTs was very solid in that game as well, and they won 4 out of 6 events. Now, you can look back at the Cold War season and say the competition wasn't really there. OpTic Chicago were going through their troubles. They didn't really like that online CDL that season. Thieves were nowhere that year. They'd just come in. Toronto were pretty good at the end of the season, but not quite good enough in the end. New York were a little bit of a threat with Clayster and HyDra, but it was early days for HyDra in the Pro League. So there were some threats, but nothing especially substantial that season. So maybe in hindsight, if FaZe had better competition, it would have been really interesting to see how they would square up. And what about this OpTic team? I mean, look, I would have loved to see a world where, to be honest, I would have loved to see a world where Scump ran the flex for like a year for OpTic, because I think he would have been just so good at that role. But look, Scump and Shotzzy, they were a good SMG duo in their time, with then Mercules and Dashy. So similar to kind of what we have seen with Illy on occasions, but now with Merc in there instead. Look, Mercules doesn't like to lose, and he doesn't lose very often at all. So this would be quite the roster in their primes. I think they would definitely give these boys a run for their money. And then Thieves, if you're talking prime Kenny Thieves, at least when Kenny and Octane were winning the World Championship together in Vanguard, let's say when Kenny was on the sub, you put those guys together with HyDra and Scrap, and like, sure, I think Scrap and Octane as well would be a formidable AR duo. So anyway, intrigued to your thoughts on that one in the comments section below. There was also some talk about ranked, because here we are, the new year has arrived, but still no ranked play in the game. People are like, oh, at Matt Sconce, what are you doing? And Nameless is like, stop tagging Matt, please. They delivered the best game in years, couple of weeks and we're lit. It was pretty funny, right? Because Nameless is probably right. He's like, okay, don't tag Matt Sconce, it's not his fault. But yeah, he has just done a tweet saying that ranked not being out is egregious. So, you know, I think there's two sides to that one. There's also a bit of drama when it comes to ranked about whether we're going to get cheaters, because look, cheaters never go away. They have still been a topic of conversation in Black Ops 7 so far, but Activision say that they've made Ricochet better. I think the experiences of most people, I'm not saying that there aren't cheaters out there, but it feels like it's a lesser conversation this season than it has been in previous years, which can only be a good thing. Now, there was this clip, which I thought was pretty interesting, because I don't really think this guy is hacking, actually. This guy, what does he go by? Gucci or something? I think he was in the replies. Yeah, Gucci Brows or whatever. So, anyway, this guy gets guns through the wall. It does look a little bit suspicious, of course. I mean, look, we do see suspicious clips on occasion. But I don't know if this guy is necessarily hacking. This is the clip in question anyway. He runs through, here we are on Scar, and he gets guns through the wall, just like his teammate does. So, I mean, yeah, that's the kill cam, really. That's the kill cam there. The reason why I don't think he's cheating is because, I mean, let me just go in the slow motion real quick. We can do a little bit of analysis on this. So he tracks the first guy pretty well. He then obviously sees the main character in this running in the background, but then he snaps back, and then he snaps, and then he tries to hit a couple of other shots through the wall. He's already weak, so he only takes 2 bullets to kill him. I think if he was hacking, he would snap onto him through the wall, right? Like, if he had an aimbot, which I guess is the implication here that he's got an aimbot on, why would his aim do this? And yeah, then he goes back. I don't know. I think when you look at it in slow motion, there's probably nothing in this, but it will be a talking point when ranked is out. And it's always a bit of a concern, isn't it, right? I mean, when you start talking about challenges and the fact that snaking is everywhere right now, and it's becoming a bit more of an issue managing these GAs. We know that Jimbo got banned a couple of years ago. There's always going to be people on high alert. Even when a Luca started frying, people are like, okay, you know, is this guy legit? Now, a couple of scrims. Omit Brooklyn. Interesting, because they got 8-0 slammed by Ravens. They then 5-3'd Thieves, so that turned some heads. Then they've played T-Bush, and they lost 5-3. So most of the maps here pretty competitive, some of them less so. I'll go through a couple of the screenshots here, right? But it is interesting to see these Omit Brooklyn boys over the last couple of days, what they've been up to, because, as I say, they've lost a lot of their scrims, but yet they're playing Thieves and they beat them. Now, I know it was Thieves' first series back, so probably it is what it is. But anyway, a couple of interesting scrimbucks. The other one was Stallions. They played the Falcons Green. Now, the Falcons Green were that team that actually won that Pup Cup the other day, and you can see some of the stats here on the screen. So this was a dead tie game here, but with Legends through to Havoc and Encourage, of course, against, well, QK's been quite a big talk lately. He's been looking particularly good. They've got that team with Asim Roxas and Rupert Skywalker over there. So just some notable screenshots from that series, really, and I think there were some more screenshots even in the replies, but the bottom line is it was a 4-4 game in the end. Stallions looking pretty respectable lately. Challenges is going to continue to be a key talking point of the upcoming year. But let's talk about some of this drama, because speaking of challenges, Doug Martin and his team, they have been turning some heads for good and for bad over the last few days. Now, if you saw a video 2 days ago on the channel we talked about, Sib said that if Gentlemate streams their practice, it would be bad, because I mean, he didn't say it explicitly, but he was like, you know, slurs getting thrown, left, right, rhubarb, we're heat of the moment in practice, probably some of the things that we're saying, it should not be out there in public, so if we were going to stream our practice, we couldn't do so with comms. So my take is like, well, clearly they are able to get, whatever you think about that, and it's probably not something to really brag about exactly, but clearly they're able to get control of it during the CDL matches, because all of that is, the comms are broadcast for that, potentially anyway. So I'm not really sure exactly why that should be too much of an issue. But the bottom line is that maybe the Gentlemate scrims sound like Modern Warfare 2 lobbies from 15 years ago, and maybe that's not the case with other teams, or maybe it is. So we have seen some practice and some matches in the last few days. Doug Martin was not especially happy with what his teammate Hyde had to say here. So Hyde gave some thoughts on the play that they were making. Doug was like, I don't know what you're talking about, brother, but the way that he says it is in such a way that, of course, has turned a few heads. Now, I think Doug said did he not say a different word on stream a couple of years ago? And there was quite a bit of talk about that. Doug certainly is partial to a gamer word or two, so yeah, some entertaining clips for sure.
They're gonna hit me probably.
Already through. Kill stat.
Behind me, dead.
Nice, shut up.
Front of me. Front of me weak. Dead. Oh my god! Fuck you, Doug. I'm in time, boys. I'm soaking this shit.
Another one window. 2p1. Yeah,
P1, running up P1 too.
Got me.
I spawned in the back, guys. I'm challenging this time. Hold on.
They're all weak.
I think they're mid. I think they're mid. I'm holding the picture.
One's mid window.
It's not my mid window.
They spawned in the back. Renegade.
I mean, on that last fill right there, literally was always saying, "Go new, go new." Like I have to play old, so we like still like they don't win off old because they could have. Like if you would have just helped Millie, because I definitely had like I can definitely stay alive enough on old so that they don't like win off the
what
ult.
you're saying right now is fucking retarded. It had nothing to do with the game, and I don't even think that was a situation that happened. There was nothing there that made sense. We had a fucking 100-point goddamn fucking lead. Hold a goddamn iron and make these guys play like idiots.
Always entertaining clips when Doug Censor Martin's involved. We'll see how his team gets on for the rest of the season. Of course, famously in that opening tournament, the Monster Invitation or whatever it was, when Doug was kind of first announcing that he was actually coming back. They took down the Falcons, right? They beat the Falcons in 5. We'll see if his team is good enough to, let's say, make some waves in challenges or potentially even make it to the Pro-Am event in Major 3 or maybe even the World Cup as well. That might be a stretch, but we'll see, because if it happens, always love to see the entertainment value that Doug brings, and the passion and the winning spirit certainly hasn't gone away, although the drama also hasn't gone away either. So yeah, very much enjoyed your thoughts on all of this stuff in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, take care, and I'll see you next time.